Good morning, it's Tuesday, February 12th. Last Friday, the Drum Center of Lexington hosted a drum clinic by famed drummer Terry Bozzio, who is noted for, among other things, having a gigantic drum set. I mean, seriously gigantic. For our clinic, he was unable to bring his entire kit and had to settle for this small throw-together kit. In honor of that event, I thought today I would talk about drum set size, or more specifically, common myths about drum set size. Myth 1, the bigger the drum set, the better the player. Pop quiz, which of these two drummers is better? This guy with the average looking drum set, or this guy with the slightly larger drum set? Now if you said neither, it's actually the same guy just wearing a different shirt, then correct, you win the prize! Another acceptable answer, however, is, I don't know. You can't tell anything about a person's skill by the size of their drum set, which is mostly a true statement. Occasionally I end up subbing a gig on drums and the guitar player's all like, "Hey man, where's the rest of your drums?" What do you mean exactly? I mean, they told us over at the store that you was a good drummer, but I don't see that many drums. I mean, Neil Peart's the best drummer in the world. He's got 1,000,000 drums, and so how come you ain't got as many drums as Neil Peart, huh? I've seen some killer players do amazing things with nothing more than kick, snare, and hat. And likewise, I've also seen people with enormous drum sets who couldn't play in time if Neil Peart was sitting in their lap. Come to think of it, it would actually be really hard to play in time if Neil Peart was sitting in your lap, so maybe just forget that last analogy. Anyway, the point is that you should judge a drummer by his sound and his actual playing, rather than by the size of his drum kit. Duh, guys. Myth 2. Size doesn't matter. Now I know we just talked about how the size of your drum kit is not indicative of talent, but the size of your drum set does matter to a certain extent. For example, I would never take this tiny kit to a death metal gig or to a jazz fusion gig. Likewise, I would never take this enormous kit to a folk gig. Yes, your technique and your motion and your stamina all affect your overall performance, but sometimes your equipment is just not big enough to get the job done. Likewise, sometimes your equipment is so big that it's a little bit painful. The point is, bring the appropriate size kit to the gig. And parents, don't worry, I was vague enough in that last segment that your children will never know that we weren't actually talking about drum set size. We're talking about pieces of wood. And by that I mean drumsticks, obviously, different size drumsticks. But now that I just said that, they'll know we weren't talking about drum set size, so, it'll be fine. It'll be fine, trust me. Okay, I hope we learned a valuable lesson today, which is not to judge a book by its cover, or a drummer by the size of his or her drum set, or a pony by its cutie mark or lack thereof. Wait, I think I'm getting off track. On to things of note. We actually have some things of note this week. On Thursday, February 14th, that's Valentine's Day, I'll be down at the Central Public Library helping with the Jazz at the Library series. The show starts at 7 and it's completely free. And then after that show, I'm gonna come home and be super romantic with my wife for Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's okay, honey. All I want for our first Valentine's Day as a married couple is for you to sit in the basement, play your video games, and play your music.
Well, okay, if you insist, honey, and just remember we actually got that on video. On Friday, I'll be playing with Business Time at Friends & Company, formerly known as The Secret, formerly known as Friends & Company. The show is from 9 to 1 and it's free, I think, but you'll have to check with Nate to be sure. If you want to hear some good old rock and roll, come on out. Okay, that's all for this week. If I don't see you at a show this weekend, I'll see you next Tuesday. And as always, thanks for watching. Oh, there's also a new drum lesson video. There's a link right over here so you can check it out. Even if you don't play drums, you should still watch it because Baby needs a new... Wait, what can you buy with 32 cents? Whatever you can buy with 32 cents, Baby needs a new one of those.